Hi everyone, the name of this video is Solutions of a Linear Equation, and basically we are doing very similar things than what we've done before. And you see I have this list over here still, but the equations are a little longer, a little more difficult today, but really not too much. We're gonna do a little more of distribution and combining like terms. So let's jump right into number one here, and we want to know what value of x makes the linear equation such and such true. So basically they're asking just solve for x, figure out what value of x will make this true. So I'm just going to rewrite the equation here so I can manipulate it more to this side of my page. And we have the same list on this side, like I mentioned. So we want to do number one. We want to distribute, and this time we actually have some distribution to do. So I'm going to draw in the little arrows in red that we usually draw in, and I'm going to do this in one step. I'm going to do both of these distributions in one step, since we've done distribution before back in 7th grade math. So this 4x just comes down, and when I distribute, remember I'm multiplying, alright? And you can multiply numbers times other terms that do not have the same term, the same like terms, I should say. So when I take 3 times 4x, I get 12x. And when I take 3 times the 7, I get 21. So I've distributed the left-hand side, and when you distribute, you drop out those parentheses. So now I need to do the same thing on the right side. So 4 times 7x is 28x, and 4 times 3 is 12. Alright, and then don't forget about this minus 3 that's on the end. That is not in the parentheses, so I'm not going to distribute there. So I did my distribution. Okay, I'm going to give a little check mark there. And now I need to combine like terms. And remember, you only combine like terms that are on the same side of the equation. So I'm going to take 4x and 12x. Those have like terms, and I'm going to put those together to be 16x. And the 21 just comes straight on down for the ride. And I look for the other side, and the 28x, well, that is the only term over here with x's. But I do have this 12 minus 3. So 12 minus 3 gives me a positive 9. Okay? So I've done that. I've combined like terms. And the next step is to get all the x's to one side. Well, as I mentioned before, I usually try to take the smaller of the x terms and move it to the other side of the equation, because that's going to avoid hopefully some negatives and some problems that may come along. So this is a positive 16x, so I'm going to take away 16x here, and whatever I do to one side, I go over to the other side and I do the same thing. So again, I put my dividers in there, not as in division, but just like something to space out things, make it look a little more neat. So those go away, and I bring down the 21. And 28 minus 16 is 12x, and I bring down my plus 9. Alright, so I've got my x's to one side, and now I do my algebra. I divide and multiply or add or subtract or whatever I need to do. I solve for x. Alright, so we've done this for a while, so the first thing you're going to do is take away 9, and if you do it to one side, you've got to do it to the other. So I have 12x over here, because these 9s, they cancel out with each other. And 21 minus 9 is going to be 12. And it looks like that's going to work out really nice, because now I'm going to divide by 12 on both sides. And x equals 1. So there you have it. There's my solution. So x equals 1 should be what works for my equation, as long as I've done all my algebra and my combining like terms right. If I quickly check it, I take the original equation and I put in a 1 everywhere I see an x. So I'm just going to quickly do that, since it will only take me a second here. Because once you get all the 1s put in for the x's, it really is pretty easy math. 4 times 1 is 4. Let's see, 4 times 1 is 4 plus 7. That would give me 11. And let's see, I'm going to bring down that 4. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 3 is 10, and then that leaves me with 4 plus 33, and that's 40 minus 3 over there, and that gives me 37, and that gives me 37 as well. So it checks out. Alright, so my solution is x equals 1. Well, here's exercise 2, and we want to do the same thing. What value of x would make the following linear equation true? So again, we just want to solve for x, and we want to go down this list. And at first glance, you'd say, oh, you know, maybe there isn't any distribution to do here, but here's where you have to be really careful, alright? If there is a negative in front of that parentheses, that set of parentheses, then you have to distribute the negative. I'm going to put a big star right there and a big star right there, because people always forget this. So when I distribute a negative, alright, let me take those away so they're out of the way, so I can put my little arrows in here. When I distribute the negative, I'm distributing like a little -1 right here. Okay, and there's a little -1 right there. When there's nothing in front of the parentheses like that, it's understood that there is a 1 there. Okay, so I'm going to distribute that negative. So a negative times a positive gives me a negative 3x, and a negative times a negative gives me a positive 9. And when I do that, I simply drop out the parentheses after I distribute that negative. Okay? And again, I'm going to distribute the negative over here. Negative times a negative is a positive 11x. So I don't have to write the plus, since it's out in front there. And negative times a positive is a -1. Alright, so I've done my distribution, so I'm going to put a little check mark there. And now I want to combine like terms. And on the left side, well, I've got one term with an x in it. But all of these other terms, this 20 and this +9 and this -2, make sure you watch that, that's a -2. I say to myself, let me switch over colors here. This is going to be 20 plus 9 minus 2. Okay, so 20 plus 9 is 29, and then minus 2 gives me 27. Alright, and then I have this -3x that's simply going to come down for the right. Okay, on the other side, I don't have any like terms that I can put together, so I just bring that all down. So I've done step 2 on my list. Okay, and now I want to get all the x's to one side, and again, I'm going to take the smaller value, I'm going to take this -3x, and I'm going to add it to both sides of the equation. Alright, and that goes away. -3 plus 3 is 0, so 0x is just 0. Bring down my 27. 11x plus 3x is 14x. And I've got to bring down that -1. So I'm left with that. So I've got all my x's to one side. And now I want to do my algebra. I want to solve for x. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides, because I want to get x all by itself. And 14x equals 28. And that's going to work out real nice, because now I'm going to divide by 14 and divide by 14, and x equals 2. Very nice. Okay, so I come over here and I can do a check. And if I do a check, I just simply start with the equation that it was originally, and I plug in a 2 everywhere I see an x. Okay, and I have a -11 times a 2 plus 1. And I'll draw a little line just to separate things here. Okay, and I just do the math on each side. So 3 times 2 is 6, and I take away 9. That gives me a -3 in the parentheses. Notice I brought down this negative right here, and -3 was in the parentheses. -2. And let's see, I bring down that negative that's outside the parentheses. And inside the parentheses, I'm going to have -11 times 2 is -22 plus 1. And I've got to just keep going with my math here. 20 minus a negative is really 20 plus 3, so that's 25. And, or, yeah, 25, 23. And take away 2. Oh boy, it's been a long day. Take away 2. And I'm going to get, what, 21 over here. Okay? And over here, let's see, I got negative 22, I add 1, that gives me a negative 21. And negative and negative is a positive, so there you go, checks out. So awesome. Alright, so there's your solution, x equals 2 for that second one. So let's turn that one off and turn the next one on. And here's number 3. So what value of x would make the following linear equation true? Again, we're going to solve it for x. I'm just going to work right off of this one since it's right there. Let's see, we'll do our distribution first. So I'm going to distribute this half. So I'm going to multiply each one of these by a half. Well, 1/2 times 4 would give me 2. And 1/2 times 6 would give me 3. So again, after I distribute that half, I can drop out the parentheses and just simply bring down the negative 2. Here I need to distribute the negative like I did in the previous example. So negative times a positive is negative 5x. And negative times a positive again is negative 9. So I've done my distribution. Now I need to combine like terms, and I look on the left side of the equation. I don't have any terms besides this one with x, so that one's just going to come straight down. And if I take a negative 2 and add it with the 3, so positive 3 minus 2, well, that's going to be a positive 1. So I just write down a positive 1. Alright, these are not like terms, so I'm just going to bring those down just the way they are. So I've combined my like terms, and now I need to get all my x's to one side. And I'm going to take, again, the smaller x, which would be this one, and I'm going to move it. Now that's a negative 5x to begin with, so I move it to the other side by doing the opposite. I add 5x, and if I do it to one side, I do it to the other. So 2x and 5x, that gives me 7x. And I bring everything else down. Oh, but this cancels, and I bring down the negative 9. Again, make sure you bring that negative down with it, or minus sign. It's really, they're interchangeable. Alright, and so I've done this step, and I want to solve for x. So I need to get x all by itself, so this is a plus 1, so I subtract 1 from both sides. 7x equals, let's see, negative 9 minus 1 would be negative 10. And I need to divide by 7. So, oh, that one's not going to work out so well. So you know what? If it doesn't work out well, I'm not going to take my calculator and write like 1 point something. All right, just leave it as a fraction. Okay, just leave it like that. Negative 10 over 7, and there's your answer. All right, and we'll do a quick check here. So I put in a 2. Oops, I'll make that a 2. Put in a half. And 4 times negative 10 over 7 plus 6 minus 2. And the other side of the equation is negative 5 plus negative 10 over 7 plus 9. Okay, and we'll put a line in to separate those as well. Alrighty, so let's do our check here. Let's see, the 1/2 is going to stay out there. This is going to be negative 40 over 7 plus 6 minus 2. And this other side is going to be negative 50 over 7 plus 9. Okay? Alright, now this is a little more complicated. I'm going to be adding some fractions here. So I'm going to go up to the top and get myself a common denominator. Common denominator is going to be 7 here, so that's going to be 42 over 7. Negative 40 plus 42 is going to be 2 over 7. So this whole part inside the parentheses is going to boil down to 2 over 7. Oops, that's supposed to be an equal sign there. Alright, and let's see, what's going to be the other one in the parentheses? I know I'm going to have a negative out front. So negative 50 over 7, and I need a common denominator with 7 is going to be 63 over 7. So that's going to be 13 over 7. Right there. Okay, and now let's finish up over here. Oh, that's nice. This is going to cancel. Alright, those are going to cancel to give me 1/7 minus 2 is negative 13 over 7. And again, I need a common denominator here. Again, it's going to be 7. So, oops, that's bad. 1/7 minus common denominator of 2 over 1. I turned into a 7. That's going to be 14 over 7. So that's going to give me negative 13 over 7. And nice, that works out the same. So don't be afraid of the fractions. You know, it just takes practice, just like anything else. Alright, so those check out to come up the same. So I'll put my little mathematical period there. Alright, and so there's your answer. Negative 10 over 7. Okay, so one more to go. We're going to turn this one off and look at this next problem here. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to solve for x here. So first distribute. So I'm going to distribute this 2. And 2 times x is 2x. And 2 times 1 is 2. And this one, boy, pretty easy. We've distributed. We don't have any like terms to combine on each side. And next we need to get the x's to one side. So I'm going to take away 2x here. And take away 2x here. And look what happens. Those go away. 2 minus 2 is 0, and 2 minus 2 is 0. So I get 2 equals negative 3, and that is false. That is not equal to each other. So again, that means, like these little dots here, that means thus, or in conclusion, I find that there is no solution to this problem. Okay? It's because I got something that came up absolutely false every single time. 2 is not equal to negative 3. Alright, so that one's pretty straightforward there compared to the last one. Alright, so I know the one before this was a little more involved because of the fractions. So if you need to, go back and watch that one again. Okay, watch what I do with the fractions. And other than that, that's about it. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.